This is actually based on a very traditional yoga pose, and traditional yoga is a guru I followed for years. I try and get to see him in London when he comes. He's called Dr. Kumar, and very much embraces the old yoga connected into the Kerala warriors. It's a very interesting system and very classic. So just lift and roll your shoulders, but this is a modified version of this because but the basis we're going to stick to. And it comes into the Krishnamacharya tradition of yoga as well. So if you've ever heard Desikachar, anyway, it's a very traditional style of yoga. And turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right, into the left, and out to the right. Come back to the center. Breathing in, raise the right arm. Breathing out, turn the head to the left. And just stay for an in and an out breath. And when you next breathe in, bring your head to the center, and breathing out, lower the right arm. Breathing in, left arm up. Breathing out, turn the head to the right. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a gentle nod. An in and an out breath here. When you next breathe in, bring your head to the center, and breathing out, lower the left arm. Lift and roll the shoulders. Circle both arms up, clasp, and reverse up. And just slightly go to, I'm going to my left side, doesn't matter, bounce in and out on a lateral stretch. Breathing in, come to the center, and breathing out to the right, just to get a lateral stretch. Come to the center. Just slightly turn, and again you can bounce in and out. Come to the center, and then turn to the other side, and come to the center. Lower the arms to the waist. Breathing in, turn the head to the left, come to the center, and turn the head to the right. Come to the center. Perhaps step your feet a little bit wider to hip width apart, and just soften the knees, and you'll find that your abdominal muscles engage. Now then, you can bring your bottom slightly behind you, just checking that the spine is in line, and maybe the chin not to the chest but the back of the neck's long. Press your feet down and come up to standing. And now, again, feel that you can adjust your feet. We're going to lift the heels and just test out our balance today. You will all be better than me. And when you're ready, lower your heels back down to the ground. And then release the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. Hands behind. Knuckles to the ground and open out across the shoulders. So you'll feel this, it's really lifting the chest, uplifting for the mood. Lifting the chest classifies as a back bend. And of course you're giving space for your organs, your abdominal organs. Lift the hands slightly away from your bottom and turn slightly to the left. Again, you can bounce in and out. Come to the center. And just slightly to the other side. And then come to the center. And release the hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then optionally, either hold your wrists, hold your elbows, or if you really want to check, then bring the hands in reverse prayer. That I find very difficult. But you are activating the outer edge along the little finger, which connects into an area you can lose it a little bit and not realise you've lost it. Turn slightly to the left. Again, you always bounce in and out. Come to the centre and turn slightly to the right. And then come to the centre. Release the hands and just circle the wrists in one direction and then in the other direction. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then bring the hands to the fingertips to the shoulders. And just a first exercise in shoulder mobility, thinking of you, Liz, and how's your shoulders, how are your shoulders? Breathing in, just open the hands out. Breathing out, bring the hands back. Breathing in, opening out. And breathing out, come to the clavicle. And again, open out. And come back. Keep the hands there and then almost circle your elbows. Now ideally your elbows should meet. That's very hard. Just aim the elbows towards one another. Make the next one the last one, and then reverse the movement. So like again, elbows up and round. Last one. And just release the hands down, lift and roll the shoulders again. Just open the palms. We're going to hug ourselves. Feet can be hip width apart. Just hug, slightly bend forward, chin to chest, and just slightly rock from side to side. Noticing the stretch across the upper back. And remembering which hands on top, because we're going to open our hands again and come to reverse, so the other hand on top, and just gently go from side to side. And then breathing in, just release the hands and lift and roll the shoulders. And then just drop the chin to the chest. And like a pendulum, just draw or trace your chin up towards one shoulder. It doesn't have to go totally. Come with your chin back to the center, chin to chest again. And then just trace the semicircle up to the other side. Come to the center, and once more each side. Chin to chest, and then just very gently lift the head up. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then gently hands up. The choice is yours to look straight ahead, which is softer on the neck, or look up. And breathing out, lower the hands. So this is traditional yoga, and traditionally you would have your arms straight up, but it's often softer to go circle the arms up. And so you choose, hands down. Start to breathe in And then a fraction afterwards, lift the arms. Start to breathe out, and a fraction later, start to move your arms. So the movement as we carry on is surrounded by the breath, it's wrapped by the breath. So you finish your movement and you finish the breath. Start the breath and the movement is a nanosecond afterwards. It has an effect on the nervous system, and we'll make this the last one. Lift and roll the shoulders. So the next movement, you either touch the floor or you can touch your shin. And you can bend the knee to soften the movement. So I'm going to step my left foot out. My right foot is about 45 degrees. If you're feeling that you're wobbling on your balance, then just bring your left foot out more to the left. And breathing in, circle the arms up. I'm going to suggest looking straight ahead. Breathing out, soften the front left knee, tummy in, and have a sense of lengthening along your spine to bring the hands ideally to the floor, but you can equally bring them to the shin or the thigh. Press both feet down and come up to standing. Hands up and lower the hands. So having made that first movement, make any adjustments you need to. And you can bend your knee more, and if that's too much, then come to just touch your hand wherever you are feeling on your leg. So breathing in, hands up, really stretch up, but chin is tucked slightly in to keep the back of the neck long. Tummy in, and then sense that you're lengthening along your spine, chin is in, but as you lengthen along your spine, your hands go to wherever works for you. Classically, you're touching the floor. Press your feet into the ground as you roll up, hands up, stretching, and hands down. It looks very simple, but if you do it slowly and with attention, it's possibly more than you might think. Stretching up, tummy in, length from the spine. Come to whatever works for you. Try not to hold any tension in the neck, just let it relax. Press the feet down, which includes the back foot. It's easy to put all the weight on the front foot. This is a variation of Virabhadrasana 1. So it's a back bend, it's excellent for weight bearing. Soften the front knee, tummy in, or abdominal muscles come slightly back towards the spine to secure your movement, support your body, and then roll up. And lower your hands. Step the left foot back. And lift and roll the shoulders. And perhaps just very gently go from side to side before we come to the other side. And come to hands at the prayer at the chest. Stretch diagonally, look into your top hand. Come to the center, prayer. And to the other side, look to your top hand. come to prayer. Release the hands. Now step the right foot forward, left foot in at 45 degrees. When you're coming forward and up, remember to put the weight on your back foot equally. That's very hard. You tend to want to put it on the front foot. So, circling the hands up, stretching up. Bring your abdomen slightly towards your spine as you soften the front right knee, lengthen the back, and then once it's lengthened, then drop your hands to whatever works for you. Press your feet, both of them, into the ground. Tummy is still engaged. As you roll up, and do feel you can use your hands to slide up your leg if you need the support. Hands up and hands down. Breathing in, circle the arms up. Abdomen into the spine. Lengthen the spine as you soften the front knee so that the back is flat and long. And then you can just drop your hands to wherever. Relax the neck as well. Press both feet into the ground as you roll up. Feel that you can use the hands on your body if you need to. And then coming up. And again, circling the hands up. Stretch. Tummy in. Soften the right knee, lengthen the spine, back of the neck is long, come to wherever, press the feet into the ground and feel you can use your hands if you need to walk up your leg. Stretching and step back with your right foot. And just again swaying slightly from side to side. And come to slow down and then come to the centre. And then hands together in prayer. And then come to lying on the mat. So in this style of yoga, you'll find that there is a recovery aspect of rest in between the poses. And it's designed to let the body recover from the movement that's been made. So come to lying. In classic Shavasana. So in the traditional sequencing, you just lie and relax. I'm modifying it very slightly. Your hands can be palms up or palms down, or you can rest the palms on the abdomen. Where I'm modifying it slightly is that I'm giving an invitation, which is optional, to very gently let the head roll or turn to the left. Come to the centre and then turn to the right. And come to the centre. Once more to the left and to the right in your own time. Just letting the neck release. The weight of the head is being supported by the ground. And then bringing the attention to the left ankle as you extend the left ankle and the left toes go to the ceiling. And then relax the left ankle. And then begin to turn the left ankle in any direction, so circling the ankle one way.
And then very gently circling the ankle, the left ankle, in the other direction. And then just relax the left foot and left leg entirely. Let it flop out to the side. And bring the attention to the right side. Extend the right heel so that the right toes point up to the ceiling. And then start to circle the right ankle in one direction. And then circle the ankle in the other direction. And then release and relax the right foot. Keeping the elbows where they are, raise the hands and circle both wrists once more in one direction. And circle both wrists in the other direction. Open the fingers, stretching them, and then just release and relax them. And then stretch the fingers open, and then release and relax them. And then relax the hands back down onto the floor. Bend one knee and then bend the other knee so that both knees are up to the ceiling and both feet are hip width apart. And then very gently just let both knees slightly sway from side to side, so that as the knees sway in the same direction, one hip will lift like windscreen wipers and then the other hip will lift. And in this swaying motion, if you feel that you want to have your feet slightly wider than hip width apart, then that's fine. Just to let them go from side to side. And if you want to let your head join in the movement, then in classic yoga, the head would turn slightly away from the direction of the knees. The knees and the head come back to the center, and the head would turn or roll slightly to one side as the knees drop to the other side. And how much you let your knees drop or your head turn is up to you. And we're just coming into something, the somatic movement, where there's a sensory feel to the movement that we're making. And a sensory movement or a feeling movement tends to bypass the brain, and so it becomes restful for the nervous system. And then coming both with the head and the knees to the center. And then hug the left knee into the chest. Just enjoy this knee to chest movement. And then hug the right knee into the chest so that both knees are into the chest. And just gently, slightly rock from side to side. And then hugging both knees into the chest. Still holding both knees, let both knees travel away from you to arm's length. And again, repeat a couple of times in your own timing. Massaging up and down the lower back area. And now hugging both knees into the chest. And raising both soles of the feet with bent knees to the ceiling. And the arms go up and behind you, almost backs of the hands towards the floor or on the floor. And then breathing out, hug the knees back into the chest. You might feel more comfortable if you open the knees wider. Again, that's an individual choice. Soles of the feet gently to the ceiling. You can keep a bend in the knees. And gently, you can keep a bend in the elbows, arms behind you. Just check when the arms go up and behind you that your chin isn't shooting up to the ceiling. Chin slightly in. Breathing out. Hug gently the knees back in. Knees to chest. And again, as you breathe in, the soles of the feet go to the ceiling, arms up behind you, stretching out under the arms. And start to breathe out. The arms follow naturally and hug the knees back into the chest. And again, soles of the feet to the ceiling, arms up behind you. And breathing out, hugging the knees into the chest. And then just slide the hands down the shins so that you're holding just above your ankles. It's like a supine Baddha. You'll feel a slight stretch in the groin, the knees are wide in a V. And just subtly rock from side to side. It's a matter of millimeters. You're almost just rocking slightly on the base, not of the spine, but just lower back. And the aim here is to open the groin, really, which opens up at the lower lymphatic system. And then very gently come to hug the knees into the chest again. And we're going to be bringing the soles of the feet to the floor, and ultimately we're going to be coming to lying, rolling over onto our tummies. So however you do that, I tend to roll my knees to the right, and then I tend to roll onto my right side, and then taking time to tummy in, press down with my left hand. Do take your time and come to just rest on your tummy. Elbows are on the ground, and you're looking down along the floor so that there's no tension in your neck. Your knees might like to be hip width apart, and this is a Sphinx Pose, which is a softer version of a cobra. To secure your back, press the elbows into the ground and your hands into the ground, and just pull yourself a millimetre forward towards your hands, and then just release and relax. Let your heels fall out to the side and jelly wobble, so just let your bottom, your heels just wobble slightly from side to side. In the back program, this is called an SIS, sacroiliac stabilizer. It's very good for lower back issues. And then this is just slightly odd. Just lift up your left elbow like a lizard and place your left hand on the floor. You can, if you want to, lift up, you can lift up your right knee. That gives you more, stabilizes you more. And almost roll your shoulder around in any way that you want to. It's a very reptilian lizard movement. So you're actually getting into the left shoulder, just slightly rolling it one way, maybe the other way, maybe forwards and backwards, just freeing off the shoulder joint. And then just replacing the left elbow on the floor, straightening out your right knee, coming back to Sphinx Pose. And then come to lift your right elbow, maybe your right hand goes out to the right, bending optionally your left knee. And the same, again, just move your right shoulder in any way that you would like. If you think of a lizard or a reptile and their very unique walk, you're just opening the shoulder in a slightly different way. And then just come to stillness. Bring your right elbow back to the Sphinx Pose on the ground. Straighten out your left leg. Come to Sphinx. Widen your knees. And then come to widen your elbows so that your head rests on the backs of your hands. Bend your knees and your soles of the feet are to the ceiling, and you can just very gently sway your feet from side to side. Your head can turn to one side and then the other, or you can look downwards depending on what suits your neck. This windscreen wiper action is quite opening for the hip area. And then just very gently come to the center. Let the legs go back down to the ground. And then you might like to bring your knees more closely together. And then we're going to roll, however you want to roll, onto your back again. And hug your knees into your chest a few times. So I like to press my feet into the ground to lift my bottom and to then just straighten it out, placing it back onto the ground. And then hug one knee into the chest and then the other knee into the chest. Just start by slightly rocking from side to side. And then hugging both knees into the chest. Still holding the knees, let them drift to arm's length away from you. And repeat that movement a few times, hugging the knees into the chest. And just let them drifting away. Just check where your chin is. In other words, the back of the neck should be comfortably long. And the chin should not be sticking up in the air, it should just be comfortable. So knees to chest works on the most important energy in yoga terms. It's the Apana energy. And Apana connects into, in Ayurveda, something called the Vata dosha. So it connects into, if the Vata dosha, that's the elements of air, are out of sync in the body, it's always responsible for pain. So this is kind of one of the greatest pain relievers. It's very soothing, of course, for the lower back. And of all the energies, if the foundational Apana energy is out, then all other energies are believed to be out. So the Apana energy classically flows from the lower abdominal area down through the legs. It's very soothing. It encourages circulation along the spine, because the spine is flat and the space between the vertebrae is even. While the spine is being supported, there's very little or no compression. And it also works on the nervous system, because any movement that correlates movement with breath calms the nervous system down. It slightly engages the mind at the very simplest level. And then keeping the knees hugged into the chest, drop your hands to support the backs of your legs onto the thighs. I like to clasp my fingers together, but you don't have to. I'm going to very gently, with bent knees, lift the soles of the feet to the ceiling. And just very gently sway your feet fractionally from side to side. It's imagining a piece of seaweed, just gently moving as the water laps it. So this is your inversion. You can have inversions with your legs up the wall, but we're not going to stay here necessarily long enough to warrant that. If you feel you want to move your hands and move your hands up the backs of the legs, or hold anywhere else, hold the inside of your thighs, if that's more of support, more of a bracing for you, then please do that as well. For those who've got very long arms, you can hold your big toes. But I say to people, it's nothing to do with flexibility, it's all to do with anatomy. If you haven't got long arms, then that's not great. If you have got long arms, then it's often quite easy. But it doesn't reflect, as I said, anything more than just someone in the anatomy aspect. I always think the knees can always be bent. And then wherever you are, hug both knees into the chest. Just enjoy gently rocking from side to side. And then just very gently rolling over to the right. We're going to come to a seated position. Take your time. And come into a cross-legged position. Just sitting up and then chin to chest. So this is the equivalent of a cat-cow movement. Sitting up, breathing out, chin to chest. Again, in your own time, a few times. The chin to chest action, apart from being calming to the nervous system, actually engages the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is engaged, is anti-inflammatory. The other interesting thing for me, if you took a breath in and held your breath either in or out with your chin to your chest, it tricks your body. You hold your breath out, or you hold your breath for longer with that chin to chest movement. And then finally, when you're ready, come to a normal seated position and bring the hands to the heart. Breathing in, just opening the hands. Breathing out, chin to chest. Heart meditation. Breathing in, breathing out. You can feel as we carry on doing this, perhaps, that the back of the neck, there's a slight tingling as the blood has easier access to the head. You've stretched everything out. And when you've got the nervous system calmed down and blood is going, or energy is going through to the head, you're getting almost a clarity, calm and peaceful, but also clarity, a perspective, slightly altered. So that when we reconnect with the world, the stresses and strains are still there, but we reconnect in a slightly different way. So it becomes a mindfulness aspect. And bring the hands to the heart, chin down. Take a moment to have a thought for the day. In Sanskrit it's called sankalpa. It's a thought for yourself, or it's a thought for anybody, wishing them well, whatever. And as you think that thought, again in tradition you would think it 3 times, and then you let the thought go, because your intention has been set. Take a moment to tune into how you feel, and just notice anything about your body and how you feel generally. And then just very gently lower the hands back down. And sit for a few breaths in Guyana Mudra. So the thumb comes to the second finger, either touching or just inside. Hands can be up, gesture of consciousness, or hands can be down, gesture of knowledge. Doesn't make much difference. I like hands down because it supports my back. So Guyana Mudra, the thumb is meant to represent the ego. And the ego is what's supposed to get in the way. So this is meant to remove our ego and bring us back in the yogic way to being part of the whole. My therapy teacher always said it's like a big cake. We're all made from the same mixture, but then we've got slices of cake and little crumbs to make us separate. But actually we're all part of the same mix, so this is kind of a reminder that we are part of a bigger whole, I suppose, quite useful in the light of the green climate, conferences and whatever going on at the moment. And then just very gently take hands to the heart, bow for yourself.